Markiplier's Iron Lung. Is it good? Is it bad? All I know is that the director slept with the lead actor's wife. So rumour has it. In all sincerity, let's talk about it. I pictured the Good Mythical Morning logo showing. I might steal it. No, I'm joking. That's plagiarism. Hello, my name is Cherry. Today I'll be analysing the Iron Lung movie that recently came out. It's not going to be attached to the original game too much as I want to analyse it as a standalone movie. Sometimes it's good to separate from the origins as it tethers too much to each other, and that way I can kind of test it out from a screenwriting view if it actually is good or not, based on just what we see, not what it comes from. Of course, in the fandom there is a lot of bias going on at the moment. Markiplier lovers are in heaven right now. Iron Lung fans are also in heaven joining them. It's bound to happen in a movie like this, but although I'm a fan of Markiplier, I've not really played the game Iron Lung, so I'm going to detach myself away from anything that I know and remain entirely unbiased if I can. After a cosmic apocalypse known as the Quiet Rupture occurs, where stars and habitable planets have essentially vanished, a convict called Simon is forced to pilot a submarine through an ocean of blood on a desolate moon. That is quite the logline. Already, great concept. Having a one-room story is interesting and instantly psychological factors are bound to happen. It'll show the deterioration of Simon in a powerful and realistic way, and that will connect to the audience as we go on the same journey. Cosmic horror is my personal favourite genre, so I may be a little bit biased there, but I'm going to try not to be. It utilises it in a way of treating humanity reduced to scavengers on this ginormous scale. I enjoy that they use a convict as the main character. It adds a humanity to people that sometimes we overlook because paper says, oh, they committed a crime. It's a good potential for backstory because then it can lead to the audience into questioning our own morals into if we think he deserved it or not. With it being set as a submarine in an ocean of blood, visuals can be difficult despite the strong metaphor. However, it does have some really good cinematography. It does really project to the audience the claustrophobia that is felt. And that of course adds the element of horror. We open up with the universe after the Quiet Rupture. There's no stars and humans are forced to utilise their machinery through space stations and ships. Most of humanity has been wiped out due to this, however. Our clear protagonist is Simon. Protagonist may not be the right word considering how morally ambiguous they keep him, but he is the main character. He is instantly shown to be desperate and yet disposable to the team at hand. The team controlling him treat him as equipment, retracting the little bit of humanity that he has left. Simon was imprisoned for causing the destruction of a space station. It ended the lives of 62 people. He did it as part of the Eden cult that are a group of pessimistic yet realistic driven characters. They believe that agencies sending out the stations are wasting valuable resources and are trying to send a message. Being forced into the submarine, I believe, is the inciting incident. Inciting incident being the beginning that starts off what will then become the rest of the story. A sort of point of they will not turn back, they are going to do something, and that leads to everything that happens. He is sent out to explore the blood ocean and map out the terrain, and perhaps for himself try and find a means of freedom. Instantly, stakes are high. There's limited option, limited navigation material, and the submarine itself is extremely poorly built. Instantly, the question is set up, will Simon survive this or not? But then the deeper question comes in of what is in the blood ocean. Act 2 is set up where, of course, the majority of the movie will reside. It's simply exploration. Due to the fact that there is no windows, it can easily go sour. Of course, budget cuts. It's a clever way to do it whilst utilising it and making sense. And yet still, despite that, the cinematography isn't bad at all. We see the world through a system of photographs which are captured still, and then the character can see what is lurking outside. It's what's known as delayed horror, where we find something out after it's already happened. It kind of reminds me of H.P. Lovecraft almost, with the way it slowly reveals things throughout. It is also shown that Simon is not the first on the ship despite what he was led to believe, as a means of other pilots' logs that he finds. It shows the lies and deception of the crew that they are becoming the antagonist against his story. So I'm just going to wait for this car. I'm trying to tell a story here.
I'm trying to get subscribers.
At the midpoint... I'm so polite. At the midpoint, a major revelation happens. The ocean itself seems to be alive, and it is attaching itself inside of the submarine in this goopy, fleshy material. It grows and grows inside of the machine. And as well, we see previous expeditions that have evidently failed in violent and horrific ways. Here, the focus is shifted from exploration to survival for Simon. Simon becomes psychologically unstable, and this is where Markiplier's acting really shines. Trying not to view him as Markiplier, I should just say Mark, but it's hard when you grew up with the man, you know what I mean? Although it does show how well he can act, I feel like anger and fear are two of the easiest things to portray in media, and I don't want to at all reduce his abilities down to that, because it does really shine throughout the story. But I just want to put that out there, that the acting, although it's fine throughout, it really shines when he shows his anger and his fear. But I also need to take into account that it's easier to portray that, so perhaps that's why it's almost viewed to be better, or perhaps he just did an exceptionally well job. Simon begins to experience hallucinations and paranoia, and most of all, the system of the submarine is beginning to fail. By the climax, Simon reaches the deepest point in the ocean. A gigantic, unseen creature is lurking around, and there's the realization that this mission might have been a sacrifice. At this point, he doesn't even know if he's alive or not. He's hearing the voices of the crew claim that he's been passed out for days, and that the oxygen should have already run out by now. And still, this fleshy and bloody material is continuing to grow, to the point that Simon can't even get through the ship anymore. Finally, the submarine ends up imploding when whatever monster is out there bites onto the submarine. Already we can see the amount of multi-layered conflicts and obstacles, and that's the type of story that I think I really do enjoy, because it does show good writing. The physical environment is against him. The physical environment itself is the antagonist, and its unknown terrain is also a crushing pressure. And as well, there's the control mandated by the crew that are above safe, and they're manipulating him. And then of course there's a psychological deterioration. It almost makes him question if he is justified to live or not. And of course, the big one really, the unknown cosmic entity that is beneath the ocean, or the ocean itself. It has a strong contemporary relevance, I'd say. There's a lot of themes of control and exploitation and punishment, with the institution using prisoners as disposable humans. Not even humans, just equipment. It shows a lot of themes about prison labour in the modern day. And it also shows about workers' rights and capitalism. Simon is literally placed inside of a glorified coffin, and even the audience can't escape this. We go wherever Simon goes. However, critics are divided, and there is good justification for both of them. I'm left wondering, if Mark wasn't in it, would it be as popular? The premise itself sells the film. The actor and director of it sells the film. And without that, would as many people have gone to see it? And would there be as many positive reviews? It's a struggle in the modern day distinguishing that, because you see the same actors in the same movies over and over again. There are very few people that are new on TV. There aren't even casting calls that happen anymore. For a lot of the movies, it definitely takes away from it. You want to see someone new. You want to detach yourself to who you already know them to be. But the fact that we haven't seen Mark act before, I think it remains in a good place. It's just the selling of the movie. It's good that it's atmosphere horror, in my opinion. It definitely varies person to person if they enjoy it. Overall, it's an entire visual metaphor. Sometimes, yeah, it's simple, but I think it always comes across as strong. However, the pacing becomes a little bit repetitive through repeated exploration. It's difficult to have nobody for the character to interact with, and so sound, imagery, and internal conflict become a focus and a driving point, but they don't consistently escalate, making the film feel a little bit slow. And of course, there's limited character developments and relationships. That's just what single character stories sacrifice naturally. I do believe it's a bit obvious that it was inspired by a game. It repeats the structure of move, photograph, react, repeat. It's a very game-like structure, mechanical if you will. Overall, the film reminds me of Annihilation, which is perhaps my favourite movie of all time. Sorry, there's a motorbike outside. It reminds me of Annihilation, which is one of my favourite films, and it also reminds me a bit of Interstellar. Everything is explained because that would destroy the purpose of cosmic horror. I think it's one of those genres that a lot of people struggle to get on with, really. And understandably why, because by the end of the movie you're left with far more questions than when you first started it. And I do think that's a driving force into the negativity of the critics, but I don't know. Perhaps from a directorial viewpoint, if there were maybe flashbacks to Simon's crime, it would change the dialogue and the visual. And still, despite that, you keep the metaphor of the coffin with the submarine. It doesn't need to be on the entire time. I know you would sacrifice a bit of the claustrophobia felt, but it would still make psychological sense because Simon is going through a lot of hallucinations and visuals. And so through that, perhaps he would be viewing himself back at the time when he first committed the crime. You could even have a point in the story where he's beginning to destroy the space station, yet it's reflecting his actual actions in the submarine, and so he's destroying it slowly. The twist with the ocean containing something alive or being alive needed a little more substance to it. Perhaps if the ocean was almost like a corpse of a giant cosmic being, something that the reason it's blocking out the stars because it's this dark matter that's just covering them. Could also lead to the idea of why there's extra oxygen, because this cosmic being contains all gases that are known in the universe, and so it's just sending it away over to where Mark is. Simon. He looks like a Mark, do you know what I mean? I'm struggling to see him as a Simon. He looks like a Mark. I think minimalism makes the film unique. And of course the motive with the ocean acting as the main antagonist is a beautiful one, where nature takes back and almost punishes humanity for its collective crimes. I know I've left the woman's voice and Ava out of this quite a lot. There could have been more added through the mysterious woman's voice, you know, pressuring Simon for what his hidden motives are, like a voice for his internal conflicts. And Ava, we don't know if Ava's actually real or not, I don't believe. I think that's supposed to be left up to question. She fulfills her purpose, there isn't too much to say about it really. But it definitely changes the dialogue and creates the motive of questioning everything for the audience as well as for Simon. Now let's explain the ending. In the climax we are set where Simon has reached the deepest point of the coordinates. We see something alive in the ocean through the camera system, and by the time he realises it's too late to do anything. It's a simple cosmic horror structure, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. I believe it's known as negative revelation ending, where the character finds something out when it is already fatal. It's also shown in Annihilation where, hint hint, you should watch it. The central main question is answered. Will Simon survive this? No, he does not. But our deeper question of what's inside the ocean of blood is mostly left unanswered. Naturally, it's deliberate. Welcome to cosmic horror, that is the whole purpose of it. Relies on incomplete knowledge, and it makes the idea that it's beyond human comprehension. Humanity will fight until it dies because it will never discover it. The universe does not want you to know, and so you will not. Cosmic horror rarely has a happy ending because it's realistic in that sense. There aren't happy endings awaiting everybody. The ending pays off, personally. I do like it. Pays off in the sense of the mystery that is built so far. You learn the ocean isn't empty, so in a technical sense we are partially answered with the question. Presence is stronger than visually seeing a monster. See my Stranger Things Season 5 analysis to see what happens when you don't do it right. Cheeky promo. I do think that's where a lot of audience has disliked the movie, and hence the critics. It's bound to happen, that is the price of cosmic horror. However, there are other factors into why audience satisfaction probably isn't 100%. So we know Simon is a convict and he wants freedom. Sorry, this is slowly going over my eyes, I can't see. But we don't learn if he actually deserves that redemption or not. We don't know if he changes from who he was. Since presented through this for it to be shown through action or dialogue, due to this it can fall emotionally flat. Also, overall, the film holds just one thread of danger. Danger, then more danger, then escalated danger, and then big danger. It's predictable and it lacked a lot of variety in the escalation process. But with it taking place in just one location, it's going to be bound to happen. Little that a director or writer can actually do to alter it, really. It still factors into being a problem. From a screenwriting standpoint, I think it works conceptually and thematically really well, but it does lack that emotional depth and character arc that we just like to see. And there we have it. That is my personal viewpoint on the movie Iron Lung. It's great. It's one of those where you can't watch again because learning how it slowly evolves is the whole point of the movie. Knowing the plot ruins it, but that's why cosmic horror is one of my favourite genres. And so I will keep my biases close to my heart, thank you. Please do like and subscribe. I'm just a desperate girlie who wants a fan base. And I will be doing more of this, as well as game analysi. Still not sure on the word. Do check out other links that are in the description if you want to see me anywhere else, such as on TikTok or on Twitch. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, have fun at the weekend, do whatever you're doing, and stay safe. Thank you very much again, and bye! Is it like ASMR? Should I start as ASMR channel? No.